Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and wow, we got an absolutely wonderful show coming your way today. We got this absolutely fantastic guest, and I'm not going to say nothing right now because I know Michelle. If I give it away, she gonna make me feel it. But I got this absolutely magnificent co-host of mine. We're talking about no other than Dr. Mike Mantell, and we're back for another four-part series on 306 degrees of health. And I can't wait to get this kicked off and get off into this next topic that he's gonna tell us about in a few minutes. But before we even start that, Dr. Mike, I have to always acknowledge the executive producer and the co-host, Dr. Michelle Cooley. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm sorry. I am doing great. I can't believe it's a couple of days, well, a couple of weeks before the official holiday of Christmas, but I'm doing great. I'm excited about the guest today. And of course, we love having Dr. Michael Mantell as a guest co-host on the show.
And we love having you. How you doing today, Dr. Mike?
I'm here. How this is the epitome of enjoying life. And I'm just delighted to be able to be a part of what you folks do. You two were in New York, getting more accolades and more recognition. And I'm just thrilled to be a part of this.
It's an absolute pleasure. And I'm so thankful that you agreed to do another four-part series because we got so much great responses back from the last one, and just helping saving lives, helping people understand things. And today's topic, we're going to talk about a little bit. Michelle, I'm just going to say it a little bit. Aging, and there is a good way, bad way, and all other different types of things to do. But we're going to talk about that one. So, but before we go off into that, Michelle, can you please introduce the title of the show, purpose of the show, and introduce this absolutely marvelous guest that we got coming up?
Most definitely. So the title of today's show, audience, is 360 Degree Health, the 8 Sacred Truths to Healthy Aging plus 3. And we're having a sit-down discussion. Dr. James J.C. Cooley, Dr. Michael Mantell, they're having a sit-down discussion with Dr. Eric Shapira. He's a teacher of geriatric and special needs dentistry, geriatric medicine, nursing, and hospital administration. He has a practice in gerontology and geriatrics named Aging Specialist, Inc. And we're going to talk about what we need to look at regarding wellness, what is aging, and what we need to be aware of to age well, and why these things are important in the scheme of things. So let's talk about a little guest today. Dr. Eric Shapira was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. He received a Bachelor of Science degree from Bethany College in West Virginia. He went to the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine and Temple University School of Dentistry in Philadelphia, and had a medical and dental residency at Mount Zion Hospital and Medical Center in San Francisco. He met and married Susan. They are still running strong after 45 years of marriage. He received his master's degree in clinical gerontology from Notre Dame de Namur University and a master's degree in health administration from the University of Phoenix. He holds a master's in general dentistry as well. He has had his own private practice in dentistry in Half Moon Bay, California for 40 years. He now works per diem in dentistry and has a practice in gerontology and geriatrics. He holds Rotary's highest award for meritorious service and in many times over a Paul Harris Fellow. He has volunteered all over the world in almost 50 years of being a Rotarian, published 3 books, a book on healthy aging named A New Wrinkle, What I Learned from Older People Who Never Acted Their Age, a 6-year retrospective titled The Art of Eric Z. Shapira, and also Geriatric Dentistry, Gateway to Longevity and Lifelong Health. Please welcome to the show, Dr. Eric Shapira.
How you doing, Doc? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Wow. A couple of things that with Michelle, Notre Dame, I went to Notre Dame as well. Mendoza, a school of business out there. I'm sure you remember that. So in Rotarian, I'm a Rotarian, been a Rotarian for, I guess, about 8 years now. And I love all of those things, everything that we do. But Doctor, you are one of the most talented individuals that come on the show. I mean, can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit more about you that maybe Michelle did not share on your bio?
Well, I spent a lot of time with my grandmother when I was a kid. My parents used to travel. My dad was a traveling salesman, wasn't around much, and my mom, he got home. So I got left with my grandma, who was a very interesting a person who I love very much, and recanted many stories of her life to me that she never told my mother. And I think that's how I really got interested in the older population when I was very small. But I don't think I really imbibed that into my brain so much as I did later on when I was teaching at the University of Pacific School of Dentistry. I was an assistant clinical professor there, and I taught courses in working with medically compromised and older people and individuals, and develop programs for the students to actually go to a chronic care facility and examine some of these people that were living there at the time. And that started my interest in geriatrics. When I was a kid, I was active in sports. I played tennis. I was a long distance runner. I like doing things like that, partially because when I grew up, I was allergic to a lot of different things. When I was 3, my mother gave me something to drink, and I had an allergic reaction. I actually had to go and have a tracheotomy in a hospital. I was awake. I remember that. And it was a very big trauma for me for a long, long time. So I feel blessed to be here because of that, because I almost didn't make it. And I've had several other instances where I almost didn't make it. 3 years ago, I was hit by a truck and had to have some neck surgery and back surgery, which I'm coming out of, but I always stay positive and I stay forward directed. And that was one of the sacred truths of healthy aging, is to stay forward directed. And I learned that early in my life because I didn't want to dwell in depression or feeling sorry for myself, because there are a lot of people that are worse off than I am, especially some of the patients that I've worked with my whole life who are special needs patients and have mental as well as physical issues. And when I was a dental student, we didn't work on patients like that. We worked on normal people, whatever that means. And I found a mental institution not far from Temple University in the hinterland. And I asked another student to go with me, and he went with me to this place. And I started interacting with the patients there, some of whom didn't look like people, but they were still people. And I'm all in favor of attacking your fears, challenging your fears, challenging yourself. And we're all people, we're all different, but we're all the same.
Eric, in addition to being a dentist, an educator, an artist, a gerontologist, an author, you're also a psychologist.
Yeah, in some ways, my degree in
some ways you are. I got to tell you something to our listeners. I only met Eric a couple of weeks ago at a dear friend's home here in Ramona, California. And I took an instant connect. My wife, Paula, said, boy, I've never seen you connect with somebody so instantly, JC and Michelle aside. But your breadth of helping humanity live better, live more optimally, just comes across. In your book, A New Wrinkle, which I love, it's a fabulous book.
Thank you.
You talk about how I'm going to paraphrase, you turned a pain in the neck and a pain in your left arm into something wonderful and good. And so many of us are faced with adversities, especially today. The world is a dark place. You turned a pain in the neck into a change in your life. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I tried to preface that a little bit in what I said a little bit ago. I didn't want to dwell in the darkness that occluded my vision, so to speak. And I wanted to do something positive. It was hard for me to sleep. And I got up every night and started to write whatever was in my mind. The New Wrinkle title came to me in a dream, and I saw this elephant as well. And I wrote down 4 titles. When I got up in the morning, I read them all, and I said, "That's it. That's the title of the book." I have it here. So yeah, I got mine too. There you go. And the elephant embodies everything I want to see for us as humans. It's a fantastic animal. It's underestimated, underrated, lives a long life. It has an incredible brain. It's incredibly smart. It is monogamous. It cherishes its children. It grieves for their young. It grieves for their buddies that have passed away. They can smell water 25 miles away. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Their sense of smell, their sense of vision, their of living their life. They're basically passive and peaceful animals, unless you want to get into a fight with them in some way. But this is what I want for people. I want them to learn how to be like an elephant, and they're strong. They maintain strength.
Our friend Dr. Walter Bortz, of blessed memory, said that the goal is to live long, die short, tubeless, painless, and without loneliness.
Yes.
I want to pick up on this and after our break and talk with you about what is holistic wellness and how does that apply to healthy aging, to active aging. I'm going to turn it back to Dr. Cooley.
Yeah, we're going to take a station break, but this is interesting already. And, we just barely touched the surface. So we're going to take a station break. Regardless of which platform you're watching this on, whether you're watching it on E360 television, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, over 55 other live streaming networks. If you want to be part of the conversation, all you do is go to the comments, ask any questions that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. Is your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
I never wanna leave. Yeah, I'm right where I wanna be. We got something you and me, and I can't get rid of this feeling. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can't be taken for granted. Now I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to you. Just like
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and got my absolutely fantastic co-host, Dr. Mike Mantell, and we are interviewing this absolutely multi-talented doctor. You can call him doctor, probably 9 to 10 different areas. He's doing so many great things, and plus, I like how you open up the show when he was talking about his grandmother. Because me and him got a lot in common when it comes to that. My grandmother was my inspiration to me being who I am today, and I was her only. My aunt and uncle, none of them paid any attention to her other than me, and she taught me everything that she didn't teach them, and which led me to be where I'm at today. So I really appreciate that comment when you made about your grandmother. I want to ask a question before I turn it back over to Dr. Mike. So we're talking about aging. How would you define aging?
It's just a number. I ask that question. I when I give a lecture, how many of you in the audience feel that you're old? And 90% of them will raise their hands. And I say, well, put a B in front of it and be bold and challenge life, because it's a challenge. Every day is a challenge, and be bold. So I also told you that to stay forward directed is one of the secrets of healthy aging, 8 sacred truths to healthy aging. And I tell people to be a frog. And they look at me like, you're out of your mind. What do you mean be a frog? I said, well, frogs only go forward. If they want to go backwards, they have to turn around, and then they're going forward again. So stay forward directed, be a frog. And you can remember that little mantra. And that's really important to keep your brain in sync and to staying positive. Being positive around everything is a priori. It's a really important thing to do in the face of adversity, which we have every day. There's, people stopping short in front of your car, and that increases the aging cycle. I say aging is a number. It's mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. And quote unquote. And we're all aging. So when we're born, we're aging. When we're, I wrote in my book, my dental medical book, that a lot of people are looking at aging as a disease because we're decaying as soon as we feel life. So we're aging at the same time as we're learning how to become a human and life to its fullest. And you can't stop that process, unless you're an AI person, and you can fake it that way, but not in real life. So we have to embrace getting older, and being aware of what we know and what we don't know. And I had a very good friend who had 5 PhDs, Dr. Heinz von Forster. He was a patient of mine, the most intelligent man I ever met. And he said, we don't know what we don't know, and we don't see what we don't see. And so, you got to go into life with your eyes wide open and look at the process that you're endeavoring to embark on. That's life. And I wasn't going to let a car accident stop me. I wasn't going to victimize myself from being hit by somebody else. In fact, the lady got out of her car. She had been crying. She got out of her truck. She hit me with a truck. I was at a stop sign. She was going 60. And I'm lucky I'm here to talk to you today to tell you the truth. But she got out of her car crying. I said, you look like you need a hug. Meanwhile, I was in total pain. And it was extremely, I was more interested in taking care of her emotionally, so I could talk to her and to let her know I was okay. And I said, it's okay, stop crying. I was hugging her. She gave me a bear hug. I could hardly breathe. And she stopped. She says she was sorry. She didn't see me. That's because she was crying while she was driving and speeding. It turns out her daughter had left her that morning and wasn't going to see her again. So my hugging her was a gesture of, it's okay. There are accidents. I'm alive, and life will continue. And that's just the kind of person I am. If I see somebody on a street and there's a problem, I'll stop. I'll ask them if they need a hand. It's important to embrace other people in this society, to let them know there's good things here. There's not just people being shot at, or, whatever. You can think of a million things that are not nice in society, but I want my aging process to be positive. I made up my mind about that a long time ago. My grandmother grew up in the late 1800s in Austria, and my story that I'm writing about her, I've been doing it for 10 years, is about what happened to her during World War I. It's an incredible story, experience that she had to find a boy that she fell in love with, who was conscripted and sent to the front to fight the Serbians. And war broke out, and the story is about what happened to her in her quest to find this person that she fell in love with. And
we're going to be eager to read that story as well. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. I have so much I want to comment on in terms of your thoughts about aging. We've had some guests from the American College of Lifestyle Medicine on talking about integrative health and holistic health. You in your book, I just want to read something which really grabs me. More people over the age of 65 years are continuing to work and not retiring. I certainly am not even close to retiring. I'm refiring, I'm rewiring. But you said 25% of the population is continuing beyond the age of 65. And the same percentage of people over the age of 65 are reinventing themselves in schools, going back to learn new things, or as I like to say, rewiring and refiring. It's far more than just thinking well.
Yes.
It is really holistic wellness.
Yes.
Our friend Walter Bortz, to quote again, said that more important than the spleen, the kidneys, the heart, the lungs are your legs. Tell us what holistic wellness means in day-to-day life.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
It means a lot. And there are 7 factors to wellness. I'm going to read them to you. The physical, the emotional, the intellectual, the social, the spiritual, the environmental, and the occupational. Those things are really, really important for total holistic health. The first 5 are necessary. The last 2 are optional, and that is the environmental and occupational. 70% of what happens to us is genetic. Okay, 70%. 30% of what happens to us depends on what we do with our genetics. So I believe you can change whatever negative stuff you have in your genes with the 30% that you work with. And part of that is your brain. It's untapped. The holistic part is your brain. And we're talking about staying wealthy on a regular basis. You won't have wellness if you don't have an immune system that's working for you. So you've got to know what to do in terms of diet, exercise, all the things in those 8. I can read you the 8 sacred things. One is keep moving. So you stay ambulatory, and I don't care how you do it, even with a wheelchair or a walker. I had to walk a mile within a month of my neck surgery. That was tough. And I did it with a walker, and then I went to a cane, and then I went on my own. So I just keep moving forward. I was a frog. You want no seafood diets, meaning SEEFOOD. You want a diet that's nutritious and it's full of vitamins, not a lot of trans fats, and so on and so forth. You want to get all the rest that you need. There's no set 8 hours of sleep is going to make you age well. I'm lucky if I get 4 or 5. My brain's always working. I'm tapped into it, and I'm happy that I can think while I sleep. So my brain's not resting, but my body is. You want to keep mentally fit and do exercises for your brain, exercises that will stimulate those neurons. There's a new science called neurobics that's part of holistic medicine, where you're stimulating your brain. I always joke with my audiences when I talk about it. It's like, okay, my wife and I take our clothes off, we turn all the lights off, we hide from each other, and then we have to go around the house feeling our way through a dark house to find each other, and then we get a reward of hugging or whatever else you can imagine. But you're never too old to play games, and that's
you're
important.
familiar with the brain care score from Mass General, the McCants brain care score protocol. I would suggest people look it up on the internet after we're done. The brain care score at Mass General. They talk about the very things you're talking about, but they also add things like your emotional and social. Do you have meaning in life? When you wake up, what is your meaning in life? Your social relationships, your connections. What kind of stress level do you have? Well, how are you sleeping? And on and on and on. And this is available. There's a score. You can take it. I think that the idea here being there's in that 30%, more or less, whatever it may be, there's so much that we can do. And we want to pick your brain to get what else can we do to live long and die short. So those are the tips we're going to be going into. Let me toss it back to you, JC.
Wow. I'm just sitting back here. I'm just, Doc Eric brought up something a second ago I ain't never thought about in my life. It's about a frog moving forward. And I never even thought about going backwards. And I think that's what it's all about, is always moving forward, not getting caught up in the past.
We can't change
and not just want to turn around and just walk back. So and the bold, what you mentioned, you add a B, that's bold. That's what it's all about. It's just going out there, living your life to the best and the fullest, and taking these great 7 tips that you're talking about right now and incorporate those things in your life. But I believe that it requires a mindset. You have to refocus the mind in order to do these things and not worry about, well, I just turned I'm getting older. We can't stop that. We can't stop that. I believe that all of these things are so important, Dr. Shapira. And we got about 2 more minutes before the break. Why don't you pick it up and go into number 5? I don't think you finished all 7 of them yet.
No, I said nurture your inner child. What you're talking about. Put fun back in your life, because we miss out on that. We stop thinking about being a kid and being curious. Some of those things are stifled as we grow up with the rules of the house, the mores of society, the teachers who put borders around you in school and follow the rules, so on and so forth. We miss out on being curious and mischievous, if you will. So it's important to have fun in your life. And that's a really, really important holistic factor. In any way that you want to do it. Intimacy is extremely important. And I talk about that in my New Wrinkle book. And I broke the word down because I saw in the word in to me see. I've been intimate with you today. I told you a little bit about my accident. I told you a little bit about how I feel or how I felt. So you're into me see. You're seeing who I am as a human. I'm friable. My humanness is showing. I don't have any guards up in front of me at this point. And I don't know how many hundreds of people are listening in and saying, oh, Dr. Shapira is an idiot because he's telling everybody all this private stuff. But,
Eric,
it's
I'm sure they're listening and saying, this guy is a genius. I want to get in touch with him. I'm going to talk about that. But before we go to the break, tell us what your hat says.
My hat says, aging, the ultimate experience, the ultimate exercise.
And the back of the hat says what?
Oh, it says Aging Specialist Inc. with my phone number on it.
And we'll show that later on. But I love it. The ultimate experience. You said aging is a number. It doesn't even have to be a number.
No.
Aging is an experience.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be turning 75, I hope, in February. I don't even think what that means. It's just you live your life and you enjoy your life.
Yeah.
I want to play that intimacy game as soon as we're done. But
we're going to take a station break right now. But this is so intriguing, and this and Dr. Eric, just what Dr. Mike just said. They saying this guy is a genius, and in order for us to be able to connect with others, we have to share a little bit about ourselves, I believe. So it's so important that what you just did. I tell you what, we're going to take a station break. And wherever you're watching this at, you want to be part of the conversation. I see that we got the numbers. I'm looking at over 1,000 just on YouTube alone.
Wow.
That's just one platform. If you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is just go to the comments. Ask any question that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. It's your life. We'll see you shortly after the break.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? And everything that you do.
I've seen a smile convey I love you. I'm proud of who you are, and one that keeps us close when we're apart. Walking from the darkness of all that we've been through, it seems that there might be a way to leave behind the loneliness we've known and live again life of need.
Hello, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be honored to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection. Hello, welcome back to It's Your Life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, with my co-host here, Dr. Michael Mantell, and our absolutely fantastic, fabulous guest, Dr. Eric Shapira. And the last segment calls us to think about some of the things that's going to make our lives better as we age. We're not going to, just like what Dr. Shapira said earlier, the minute that you come out the womb, that you're born, life is bred in you. From that day forward, that second forward, it's a progress until the end of time, the end of your time, till God decides to take you away. So you have to take all of these things in consideration and understand, what can I do at your earliest opportunity to make sure that this process, aging process, is going to go just like the birthing process, happy, coming out, excited. We're going to run across ailments and illnesses and all that other type of stuff, but certain things that the great Dr. Eric is talking about can help ease all of those things and help keep our mindset right. So I want to pick it back up with that, Dr. Shapiro. One question I got before I turn it back over to the great Dr. Michael Mantell is, how does geriatric care involve a multidisciplinary approach in incorporating various healthcare professionals to address the complex need of older adults?
You're asking me that question?
Yes, sir.
I need another 20 people to answer that. It's a very all-encompassing question. I have to know who I'm working with when I see a person in my practice. 90% of the time, it's the children of older people that see me because they don't have any coping skills. They don't know how to cope with their parent who may be cognitively disabled in some way, and or who may be in the process of physical change due to various neurologic diseases and so on and so forth. So I need to study. My dad always told me to study the situation before I act and do something about it. He was very wise in that sense, because if you don't study the situation and you act before you know, then you're going to make mistakes, and that can be detrimental to both you and the patient and the person you're working with.
I want to ask you, I want to pick up on that. We talk about, JC just spoke about illness and so forth, and talk about mistakes that are made. We know in America that, I mean, we'd like to think that our life expectancy increases and increases and increases. In fact, life expectancy in our country, there are reports, are decreasing.
Mm-hmm.
And talk a little bit about this, because I mean, you know, we like to think we can live to 100. We see more and more people living into their 90s. But for the average person, dementia, cognitive impairment, other health issues, the healthcare system, a lot of things that are taking place that are impacting our life expectancy. Can you talk a little bit about that for us?
Yeah, you need a longer show, Mike.
Well, let's go.
Well, it comes down to basically how do I want to say this? It comes down to your coping skills, number one, and your sense of purpose. People ask me if I'm retired. I say, no, I'm just tired. You know, I'm 106, but I look good for my age. So I think it's important to have a purpose in life. So if you're going to not work anymore in the field that you've chosen to be part of, and you're going to retire, so to speak, and you're going to play golf, it's going to get old after a while. There needs to be more than that, I think. So I'll give an example. I'm trying to answer your question with examples. I had a patient, a client who was a widow, blamed herself for that, but really didn't have anything much to do with it. Was home alone, didn't have a job, couldn't find what her purpose was in life. And I said, you know, I understand you. What do you do at home? She likes to read. I said, okay, I have someone that you can read to. I had an MS patient in a chronic care facility. And I said, I think it would be a great honor for you and a service to her if you would go and talk to this lady. I'll introduce you and read to her, because she can't read anymore. She can't even hold a book. So she said, well, I'm scared. I said, well, there's nothing to be afraid of. It's another human being with a few little problems, a few unmet needs. I don't like the word problem.
Right.
So she went, and I saw her again another time, and she was on cloud 9. Couldn't believe how much joy she brought this other person. Had no expectations about what it would do for the other person, but this person needed to be needed. All of us as humans have to look inside and realize we have certain needs. Look at Maslow's triangle.
Tell us about that so our listeners know what you mean.
Pardon me?
Tell us what that is so our listeners know what you mean.
Well, he's got a triangle with, we need love, we need food, we need a house over our head, we need a purpose, there's a lot of them in that triangle. I can't remember all of them, but it's really, really important thing that he came up with. And without these things, you're not fulfilled. So I think having a purpose, even if you're retired, you need some kind of a purpose. And my being Rotarian for 50 years almost, I'm 2 years short, gives me some purpose in doing things outside myself, outside my own circle of my environment, the people I know. I'm somewhere else. I mean, I've done stuff all over the world, cleft lip and palate surgeries, you name it, I've done it. And without any remuneration. I taught in China for, I don't know, 10 years or so, no pay. I was curious about the Chinese culture, and somebody asked me if I would like to go, and I went. And it gave me some purpose in my life, other than already having a practice, which I took away from, and all the things that I'm usually doing. So going back to your original question, we need to give our gifts away. I'm an advocate of that. That's one of my mottos. Give your gifts away.
What do you think? What do you think?
We don't know what gifts we have until we do give them away.
What do you think the average person who's an older person who's dealing with health concerns, health issues, now this is going to sound like a strange question, but what should they be looking for in a physician who is taking care of them, supposedly?
Someone who is empathic and not sympathetic. There's a difference between the two. Sympathy just acknowledges you have a problem, and empathy is a paraphrasing of what someone might find in their life. In that way, someone who listens to you and responds with a caring manner. You want somebody who's experienced in what they do, who has a good track record, who cares about you. I've had several who never even called me. If I do any interventional treatment on somebody, I call them to make sure they're okay and see how they're feeling. Let them know that I care. Caring is an important part of healthcare. Many practitioners are caught up in the cycle of clinic production and so on and so forth. I work at a Native American clinic, and I'm triple booked. And they tell me, oh, your next patient's waiting. I said, okay, it's fine. I'll be there. I'm not done with this patient. When I'm done telling this patient what they need to know about operative care, I'll come to the next patient. But don't push my buttons, because this is the way I practice. They don't like it, but that's the way it is. I'm a humanistic practitioner. I'm a holistic practitioner in that sense, that I deal with the entire person, not just their mouth or some part of their body or their brain. I'm dealing with the whole person. That's why it's important for me to know who I'm working with when I do see somebody.
Let's pick up on that. JC, I'm going to toss it back to you.
Yeah, we're going to take a break, but one of the things that I want to respond quickly on is purpose, what you're saying. And Maslow hierarchy of needs, and you mentioned that at the top of the chart, it requires for us to be whole to fulfill all 5 of those other needs. The social engagement, a sense of belonging is so important for us to feel complete. So I really like how you put that, Dr. Shapira. We're going to take a station break. We're going to come back and we're going to pick it up some more, because this is great. And Dr. Mike, you know, we're going to have to look at seeing if we can persuade the doctor to come back on the show again real soon, because there's so much that I know we're not even going to break the surface on. So I'm having fun. This is absolutely fantastic. And whichever platform that you are watching this on, all you have to do is go to the comments, ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. And I'll tell you, these two great doctors here, I'm pretty sure they have opened up a whole lot of eyes and ears. The thing is, with the audience and the viewers out there, we have to take in this information. We have to implement this information in our lives because we want to be our best self, regardless of whether we 30, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, whatever that is. By implementing what these two great doctors are talking about, we can achieve that, and we achieve that together. And I'm just so thrilled with this conversation. I did not expect this to be this way. I mean, I knew it was going to be great, but this is even better than what I expected. So my thing is, I am loving this, and I want to turn it back over to my main man, Dr. Mike. Doc, tell me what you think about this so far.
Oh, this is. I mean, I knew it would be great because I read the book. There it is, right there. A New Wrinkle, and I've gotten to know Eric and his lovely wife Susan. I want to just quote something else from the book. You say our lives are movable canvases over which we paint our ever-changing stories for admiration and display. Our interpretation of what we are and have become stop when the painting is finished. But the interpretation of what we've left behind is now up to the many spectators who are left to figure it all out. And then I love this. You say, laugh a lot, share, love a lot, live a lot, get to a place where you know yourself and enjoy life as you know it. Let your inner child out to play as well as teach others by sharing your gifts. And above all, have no regrets. Tell us a little bit about your practice as an aging specialist incorporated and how you teach people to not have regrets. Because that seems to be quite a hurdle.
It's tough. Mostly the kids of the people that I'm working with who are our age. You're not 106 yet, but we're close in age. Dealing with the kids, they have regrets about, and a lot of guilt about not taking care of what they need to take care of because they don't know how. That's why I talked about they don't have coping skills. So I have to teach them coping skills. I have to teach them to be patient. If you have a memory impaired person, you can tell them anything you want till your face is blue and the sky turns green. But their presence of mind is their reality. You can't change that. All you can change is yourself, and you'll be a much happier person if you look within and how you're going to deal with what you're dealing with and cope with and nurture those coping skills rather than try to change something you can't.
So Prevagen won't help?
Well, if you listen to the people on TV, it does, but there's no scientific evidence that it will unless you turn into a jellyfish.
I want to take you back to the regret. There's a story that I share with many of my clients. This man was burying his wife, and they were at the cemetery, and the clergy was there, and people were leaving, and the man was there crying about his wife. And the clergyman was there saying, it's getting time, it's getting dark. And the man starts screaming, the red dress, the red dress. and no one knew what was going on. People had to leave. It was getting late. And the man said, the clergyman said, we do need to leave. He said, I know, but the red dress. And he kept going on about the red dress. Finally, the clergyman said, look, please tell me, what do you mean by the red dress? And he looked at the clergyman and he said, look, my whole life, my wife just wanted a red dress and I never let her get one. How can I live the rest of my life? We see clients who have deep regret, guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share a little bit about your live life, love life, move forward, and live with that regret? Yes, you didn't get the red dress. How are you going to go on in life?
That's a good question. I can counter with a story about the little old man who went into church every day and prayed to God, please, God, let me win the lottery. I don't know if you've, and nothing happened. This went on for a month. And finally, the ceiling of the church opened up and there was the firmament. And this man saying, please, God, let me win the lottery. And God's voice was heard and said, do me a favor, Freddie, buy a ticket.
Right.
So you need to learn about what your regret is based on in order to understand where it's coming from. And then try to solve that issue within yourself by, I always like to have people write things down in front of them. I actually have a circle of feelings, a circle of guilt, a circle of, and I have them not only be able to write, but also draw. If they don't feel comfortable writing, draw a picture and then tell me what it means to you so I can understand the person and where they're coming from and what their feelings are. Guilt is, we learn that early in life because we got the, don't do that. Don't eat that. Don't pick that up. That's valuable. So somebody's placing value on something now that can be broken that's going to cost you. So there's consequences for that type of thing. And so we internalize all this stuff, as you know, and it builds up. And then you've got walls around it because it's too painful to recant. And then you're not processing it in the way that you should. I've spent my time on the couch and in my gerontology residency, I was in the psych department and I took lots of counseling courses and was in counseling and within the program. So my degree is a master's in clinical geriatrics with an emphasis on counseling psych. So I did the same. My only difference was I didn't take my internship was in public health and aging, dealing with that rather than going into a internship in psychology or marriage and family therapy or whatever you want to call that subject. But I think it's important to come to a realization of what the guilt's all about, what your regrets are all about, and know that some of those things are never going to get solved. That's just the way it is, and move forward.
And if people want to be in touch, the back of your head, I'm sorry?
You can't change the past.
Oh, that's true. People do pray for a better yesterday. Not going to help. The back of your hat has a phone number.
Yes.
If people want to get in touch with that phone number, please turn it around and share that number. We have about 30 seconds left. 650-619-1251. 650-619-1251. Aging Specialists Incorporated.
Testing
Thank
your
you,
memory.
Dr. Shapira. James, it's all yours.
This has been absolutely.
One more thing real quick. I want people to forgive themselves and forgive others. I think it's important. Forgiveness frees the mind and acceptance frees the soul. That's my
Acceptance is the key.
love
Acceptance
it.
is the key.
This has been such a great interview. Hey, Dr. Mike, I would love to get this guy back on again if he ever had time. And, I just want to thank you, Dr. Shapira, for taking the time to come on the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. Mantell, you already know how I feel about you. I want to thank you. Thank you for taking the time out your busy schedule to come on and host it. Most importantly, I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another absolutely fantastic show. I'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners out there for tuning into the James Cooley Show, Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Always, always dream big, think big, and be big. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. Yes, your life.